Yo, my name is Lance Moore. Welcome to Shit IDK, where we did not know flamingos eat upside down. Yo, we got a special guests today. But first, let me introduce my co-host JJ. What's good?
What's up? What's up? What's up?
Hey, so let me introduce these. This is like a power couple. If I cannot explain it more, like when
Wow.
you see power couple in the dictionary, boom, you got the Gauses.
That's
We
too
got
much.
no.
That's
It's an understatement, bro. It's an
That's too much.
I'll
understatement.
take it.
Y'all,
I'll take
Salute
it.
to y'all.
say man, big salute to y'all. Y'all been doing y'all thing. We got Kevin and Jasmine Gause in the building, y'all. What's good? What's good? Make some noise.
Good evening. Good evening, family. Good
Yeah,
evening.
man. How y'all feeling?
Good.
Good, man.
Cool. So again, as always, like when I be reaching out, to get the show booked and stuff, like man, they do so much, but I gotta like target on one thing. But it was like super hard, because you do like
Understood.
you do everything. So, but we landed on credit repair, but we can talk about that, but then we're gonna merge off into a bunch of different things. So
Okay.
y'all
That's fair.
listeners, viewers out there, hey man, tune in. Let's go.
All right.
All
So,
right.
Get
Let's
it.
go.
so let's start it off. So I'll maybe young viewers out there, like, what is your credit score? Like, what is it? Not like your personal credit score, but what is the credit score?
What do you mean?
Like, what is
What is credit?
yeah.
What is credit?
Mhm.
So, credit is so many things. Credit gives you the ability to take your cash and keep it in the bank,
Mhm.
utilize someone else's money to do what you want to do, purchase, have a line of credit. A fun fact is if you have a job that you're making $70,000 a year, you have decent credit, you're really making 140 a year. So because you can borrow other
Makes
people's
sense.
money to double your money that you have. That's the name of the game. A lot of people don't play the game appropriately, but that's a part of the game.
She gotcha. So use other people's money rather than
Absolutely.
yeah.
Most millionaires, they don't, a fun fact, they don't use their cash. They
Yeah.
use credit. A big thing of a stigma in most African American communities is you have to cash is king. Cash is you need cash to start a business. You need cash to get this car. No, you need credit.
Okay. So what do you say to those people that say money is more important than credit?
I challenge that. I want to know why they
Okay.
think that way. What made you think that way? Is it something that was passed down to you? Is it because you were not quite educated on the proper way to use credit, to utilize credit?
Yeah.
A lot of times people just speaking things that they've heard
Mhm.
historically from their family.
Gotcha. It was brought up on mattress banks.
Yeah, well, hey, first of all, let's not discredit the mattress bank. My grandfather believed in them. Because banks don't always treat us fairly. So I'm not going to knock mattress banks. And yes, I'm not saying that you should not have cash. I'm not saying that you don't need cash, but I'm saying that you can utilize credit to help extend your cash, to help you make additional cash.
Okay.
So
I've heard a lot of people say like zero credit is equal to bad credit.
correct.
Why is that?
Because you're nobody. I hate to put it I mean, is that not what it is?
Yeah.
I mean,
Most lenders look at it the same way.
Yeah.
They look
correct.
at it the same.
So you're looked at a risk factor. Like you having no credit, you're non-existent. How do I know that you will pay this back?
Right.
How can I trust you with this card that I'm getting ready to give you? You haven't proven your worthiness to have it. I hate to say it like that, but that's what it is.
No, that's exactly. You can make the down payment, but can you pay us?
Can you
It's-
maintain it? Or
yeah.
or as we call it, text time ballers,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I think everybody
taxis.
go about
Oh,
text
everybody
box.
gonna look for that 2,000 down.
Right.
Yeah.
2,000.
Yeah.
But
I can do that.
But come, let's say May, will they still have a vehicle? Will they still
Mm.
have, or will it be going down the street on a
We differ on one thing. The question that you asked was which one is more cash or credit?
Yeah.
I say they're equal.
Okay.
Because you can't really have one without the other.
Gotcha.
If somebody gives you an $8,000 credit card, how you gonna pay that monthly balance?
Yeah.
If you ain't got no money.
Just some
So they
tricks to
kind
it.
of go hand in hand. See, she know the tricks of the trade. See, that's why I've been quiet. So I'm going back
But
to
no.
my notes.
I mean, but to his point, initially, yes, you need money to offset to be able to pay the debt. The one thing that I try to teach people is what you charge, be able to pay it off in cash.
True.
So if you charge $500, then you need to have that $500 in your pocket.
Gotcha.
When you're paying only the minimum balance on a credit card, you're actually giving the lender money because they're making money off of the interest. you're just paying that minimum payment and just paying the interest.
See, that's what I was gonna ask because somebody told me like, say if I would get a $200 credit line or limit somewhere, and
Mhm.
I only spend like $60 a month and put that back on there, that can build my credit up. Is that
It can if you pay it before the interest
okay?
period. So you can't wait to day 29 to pay the bill. You actually need to pay it on day 15
Mhm.
because the lender cannot charge you interest on what isn't there.
Gotcha.
That's also a faster way to pay off your vehicle too. So I mean, we can get into all like the little different tricks and stuff. I mean, it's multiple. But back to what my husband was saying,
Mhm.
yes, that is a valid point to have that. But if you have multiple cards, you can actually use one card to pay for the other one.
Mm.
Yeah,
So we
yeah,
can get into that
yeah,
too,
So
like that.
I mean, so
Say,
it's
say,
different
hey
ways
man,
to
welcome to
spend
Shit
it.
IDK. Welcome to Shit IDK.
yeah.
You
So
better
I
tune in.
mean, that's part of it. That's truly shit I didn't know. I
Yeah,
learned that the hard way.
that's
So
making your money work for you.
oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna dig into that. So
for sure, absolutely.
yeah. So tell me, so you do have a lot of inside information. Like what are some things that somebody like outside looking in should know about credit repair, what they should be doing, excuse me.
So the first thing, to really be honest, is to truly educate yourself on the various bureaus.
Mhm.
Yes, there's a lot of people out that are, they have the Instagram, the podcast, and things like that. No hit against the podcast, but that are giving out some misinformation.
Okay.
And some of it is valid information and some of it is misinformation. But always do your research. Don't
Yeah.
just go by what you see online. Go and research it. Yes, you have the three major credit bureaus: Experian, TransUnion, Equifax. Everybody knows about them. But did you know about the two that's behind the scenes? It's also feeding the information to the three major bureaus,
Okay.
like LexisNexis, for business, Dun and Bradstreet. That's one. These are what the credit bureaus are using to go back and verify the debt that they're claiming that you have.
Mhm.
So it's a lot more than just going in, hey, I disputed with the three major bureaus. That's part of the reason your stuff ain't coming off because you hadn't really gotten to the root of what is causing that to constantly keep reporting on your credit.
Mm. Why question, why can like especially when you're looking at the three different bureaus, why does your credit score vary between the three? Like why?
That's a great question. So you have what is called FICA, and there are different levels of the FICA system. Each bureau does not subscribe to the same system. So think about it like this: you have a computer system. Apple comes out with a different model every 6 months, right?
Mhm.
So you might have the version that came out in January. That version is FICO System 10. And you might have one that came out in May. That's FICO System 12. And then you have one that's coming out later on. Each one of them has a different level of reporting. So that's why your scores will not be consistent across the board. You also have different industry reporting credit bureaus, such as the mortgage industry. We have a specific one that we pull. We are more heavily on our Experian than we are with TransUnion and Equifax. For auto is more TransUnion and Equifax. So you have to understand the bureau that you're trying to work with according to the good that you're trying to accumulate. So if you are more so looking at, hey, I want to buy a car, then we kind of need to look at your Equifax
Mhm.
and your TransUnion report to see what's going to be there. Because the dealership, 9 times out of 10, is not going to really pull your Experian according to the lenders that they're approved.
Gotcha.
That's such good information.
No, it is. It is.
Because I was gonna ask, do the different levels of reporting invalidate one score and make one score more important?
Mm-mm.
But
It all
it's
depends on which like what you're doing. Like
Mhm.
if you're getting a car, then of course like she said, they're gonna pull those two bureaus. So it's one of those type deals where it just depends. Um, there's a company notorious for being like a secondary lender, like Santander or something like that. So it all depends on which your credit score one, and also which bureau they're going to pull as far as the lender.
Mhm. And then just to add to what he just stated there. I mean, give me your question one more time.
does the different levels of reporting invalidate one like experience?
So no, they don't. But you do have to look into which bureau is going to pull which information. Meaning, um, I can go and say, hey, this isn't on my Equifax report, but you have it on my TransUnion report. TransUnion is gonna be like, okay, well, this credit this creditor has an agreement with us and we only report for them. They don't also work with Equifax. So some creditors only work with specific credit bureaus to report information. So
Okay. Okay.
Things to know. Things to know.
No, definitely.
you would think that all creditors have relationships with each bureau.
Yeah.
But for instance, our company, we can actually report trade lines. But it costs me money to report trade lines. I don't want to report trade lines to Experian because Experian is one of the higher of the three. Nexus Lexus is one of the higher of the three. The cheaper one is TransUnion. So I can fuck up your whole day with TransUnion. But that is the offset of what a creditor has to deal with on their side from a banking perspective. So they have to have a relationship with that credit bureau to be able to report negative or positive information on your behalf. So if they don't have it and you only see it, like, why is it only on my TransUnion but it's not on my Equifax? It's probably why they don't have a relationship with that specific bureau.
And it happens more times than you think. Like if you ever pull your credit score or pull your three credit bureaus and look at the difference, and you might have a couple of addresses that you ain't never stayed at, or you stayed
That's,
at
that's
20
one of the
years
things.
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you might have had, say you had a credit card and you were credit card and you made somebody an authorized user and it pulled in their address. Now your address,
Tied to
their address is now on your credit
Yeah.
report and all they negative mess is now possibly attached to you. So you'll get their credit collection calls. Hey, have you heard from Bam Bam? I'm like, why you keep calling me?
Where did this come from?
Right.
Why
Why
you
is
put
this-
my name on your
Right.
papers?
Exactly. But this is because they go through what's called a cross-reference service. So
Yes.
they pulled up any address that is associated with a person. Oh, wait a minute. They trusted them enough to add them as an authorized user. So that means they know how to get in touch with them. I'm about to call them where the hell out of them.
So
So
they
that they
can
I
call,
see.
yeah.
exactly.
The tricks.
Exactly.
And then my mama like that. I'm like, you know what? Don't give them my
Right.
number.
Don't
Yes,
do
I
that.
know.
Yep.
Man, it even goes as far as, I mean, because you got to think about it. Credit bureau. It's a bureau. Literally,
Yeah.
it's a bunch of people
Mhm.
trying to keep up with your shit, basically.
Yeah.
It's people
So,
being paid to report negative information on you.
Oh, definitely.
but
And they
at the
getting
same
paid.
time,
Yes.
you also like we were gonna name our middle son after me,
Uh-huh.
and her
Mhm.
mom, financial. She's been in the financial sector forever. She's
Yeah.
like, "Don't do that." And
Don't
I'm
do it.
like, "Why? I mean, I want a junior. This is my.
Yeah.
She's like, "No, because once he gets of age, if he has bad credit,
Oh,
and
shit.
you guys have the same name, next thing you know, you start linking. I'm
Okay.
like, oh wow,
That's crazy. So, and that kind of leads me into my next question. Speaking of like sharing names, so when you get married, like how important is one's credit, like significant others' credit when it comes to like you guys getting
Well,
married?
so
Well, when me and her started, we ain't had nothing.
Okay.
So
Right.
I mean, for us,
it was different from us because he
Yeah.
was coming out the military. I
Okay.
was finishing college. So for us, it was a little bit different. But one of the things that we tell people, and by the way, we've been married with almost
It'll
18,
be 18 years.
So we got a little bit of
Congratulations. I know
Thank
some
you.
people that didn't last 3 months. So.
Well,
Yeah.
we were just
We've
talking about the
seen
other.
it.
Yeah,
We've
we've
witnessed it.
been to some weddings, and now we've
We
Yeah.
witnessed them.
witnessed some of the divorce parties.
Mhm.
So, but
Divorce party.
yes, there's a whole nother situation.
Yeah.
But to go back to your question, what is that important? You don't necessarily take on that person's debt because you're taking on their last name. That's number one. But you also want to make sure that whomever you are talking with, you all are on some type of same playing field financially, because you don't want to incur additional debt that's going to harm both of you all over time. That could impact you from getting a car, a home, or something of that nature. So it's important to have those conversations, but just because I took on his name didn't mean that I took on his debt. And just
Gotcha.
because he gave me his name didn't mean that he received my debt.
Gotcha.
So
So that's a misconception.
definitely a misconception.
I mean, you definitely want to make sure that
Yeah.
if that they ain't got to make $1 million, but at the same time, you need to make sure that y'all are equally yoked, so to
Yeah,
speak.
I mean,
Definitely.
If her credit bad, then your credit need to be bad.
I'm
You
be
know?
out
I ain't gonna say all
there
that,
trying to get getting a 25 piece and you
Hey,
just a
but
tip.
right, but
As
I
I
am
said-
going to say it's important for you to sit down doing pillow talking. Like, look, babe, I got
Hey, I got
these
XXX,
collections
baby.
going on or whatever. So it's only fair that you each know what you're getting involved in.
Yeah,
So it's
I
only
agree.
fair.
Transparency.
Yeah. I mean, that's good in any relationship.
Facts. There you
Yeah,
go.
but however,
Yeah.
we've known some to end over that, to actually like
Oh, yeah.
get married and like I didn't know that they had all this debt.
Mhm.
I don't want to be married. I don't want this house anymore because everything is on me, you know. So those are conversations you should have beforehand.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
So that leads me to my next question. In the
okay.
family realm. In
She
the
took a
family
deep
realm.
breath with
Take a
that
deep
one.
breath.
Let's get it.
Woo, let's get to it.
That's how
So
you know.
as a parent, I know there's ways that you can help out your kid and start
Mhm.
building their credit younger or before they're even of age to have their own card and things
Yeah.
like that. So what would be a good age for you to start doing that for your kid? Or is it too
That's a
early,
good
too
question.
late?
So that's a phenomenal question.
is.
So we have 3 children. And our oldest will be 21 this month. And we started him off on his credit journey at the age of 16. So our son is pretty much financially stable enough to hold his own. His car is in his name. He has lines of credit in his name.
And that's the goal.
That is the goal. So he can go out and purchase what he needs. But it also started with credit education too. Because it was like, just because your father and I are gifting you this credit doesn't mean that you just go out here and wild out. Because you can, go and get a $10,000 line of credit, or, you know, he he signed for both of his cars. So, his first one was 23,000. He had an accident, totaled that one out. He made
He didn't
money
have
off
no
of it.
accident. His partner
His-
wrecked his car.
Yes, thank you for clarifying that. 'Cause yes, because when he see that, he gonna see this. He was
Yeah.
like, I didn't do that. But yes, his partner wrecked his car. But he was able to walk onto a lot and upgrade in cars. So now he's driving around in a $50,000 car, with most adults not even able to go and do that for themselves.
It's 38 grand. It's not-
That started with you guys.
we
though.
still black parents. It's 38 grand.
It started with y'all, and that's the
Yeah.
beautiful
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Nah, so I mean, that education
Thank
part
you.
is good.
And we ain't buying nobody. My truck costs 50.
Mhm. And that's a nice truck out there. That's a nice
I
truck.
appreciate you.
But yes, we are still black parents, but we do believe in financial to set your kids up financially. That was something that was very that was passionate for us to do. Because that doesn't happen
No,
in
not
our
at all.
culture at all.
I
At
was just
all.
about to say, like, a lot of
Even the first step of education.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of us got to figure it out on our own.
And that's the thing. Like, a lot of my clients have been individuals that just trial and error, or like one of our clients that we're dealing with now is like, we had no, exactly what I'm talking about.
I need to keep my face
Y'all,
right.
fix your
to
face.
see this.
Fix your face. Fix your face. And we will not disclose any names.
No.
But that one of his conversations with us was, my mother never taught me about a budget. She never
Yeah.
taught me the worthiness
Yeah.
of credit. So like, they would get furniture from Renter Center and stuff like that. You didn't realize that you're paying more interest. You're actually paying for that piece of whatever that you're getting from them times 4. So, that was something in our culture. We're just how you say, you go to work, you save. You go to work, you save. You live in pretty much paycheck to paycheck. You buy one house, you stay in the house. You don't look at a home as an
Oh
investment.
my God.
How do you get out of that?
That one
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
what she just said, is so prevalent
Oh,
with
yeah,
us as black people. I know your followers or your following is probably multicultural, but
But that's in a lot of cultures too. It's not just African American culture. It's in a lot of cultures too
Like-
that they.
well, we'll get to the real estate portion, but buying one house and staying there forever.
No. I don't even want to stay in one state forever. Like,
No.
I
Right.
I
So
value my travel. Like, I want to so my end goal, well, not end goal. I do want to travel everywhere. Like, I want to get into van life. If I was to get a property, I would like
Mhm.
kind of put that property up like Airbnb, like
Mhm.
rent it. You know what
Gotcha.
I'm saying? That way, I have the financial freedom to kind of travel at will.
kind of like a duplex or a multiplex owner.
Yeah, that's where I want to get to.
That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
too.
I was
I just
telling
wanna
them
get
my
one.
family is like my family owns several houses right now.
Nice.
Except me. I don't.
No, well,
No,
you're
it's
you're
coming.
coming.
It's
It's
coming.
coming.
Yeah,
But I
it's
mean, the
coming. It's
fastest way to wealth for any culture is through real estate within the
Mhm.
United States. You can play the stock market.
It's
You
the
can
safest bet.
Yeah.
It's the
Mhm.
safest.
Yeah, I
definitely.
will agree with that. But it's also the fastest. Like, because if you look at what's going on in the market now, for the past 2 years, a lot of people have flipped properties and they have made double what their properties are worth just from buying at the right time.
Mhm.
I mean, you're right on what you said. The only thing I disagree with is being the fastest. And the reason why I disagree with it is because people are
Almost
out here
recently.
doing forex, making
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, with real estate, it's one of those type deals where it is a solid investment. You'll definitely see dividends as long as you're in a decent market, and of course, the country doesn't go into recession, but it doesn't always flip overnight. Like,
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. If there's a house that you purchased for like 450
Mhm.
back in 2018, well, now it's a good investment because you can probably sell that same property for 600,000-700,000.
Yeah,
That's a
that's
good
what I'm talking about
investment in 4 years.
Yeah.
You've made several hundred thousands, but it took 4 years.
Yeah.
I mean, if you consider that fast, then cool. But the average person ain't 4 years is
Yeah.
quite
How
a
fast are you flipping?
What do you mean
As far as like if you were to like acquire a property that you want to flip, like what's a fast rate for you?
well, most people that are flipping properties now, and like as far as fast, I would say maybe 6, 8 months. Reason why is because you got to go in most cases and fix that property.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And if myself and my wife, if we're gonna have anything to do with it, it's gonna be updated. It's
Yeah.
gonna be nice.
And not only that, I mean, a lot of times when people are flipping to his point, to your
Mhm.
question too, you have a line of credit that you're on that you are charged interest per day.
Mm.
So
Oh,
every
shit.
day
Oh.
that their property is sitting out
Mm.
there, you
You
are
wait.
costing me money.
Right.
I need you to go and put this floor down so I
Yeah.
can go ahead and resell this.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
All
That's
that. I
something you don't
mean,
think
you
about.
got to jump out.
Yeah.
If you're trying to flip houses, you need to jump out there on the day one with a budget
yeah,
Yeah.
and a time frame.
right. So
Otherwise, you're
Money's out the
mashing.
window.
yeah, so a
Yes.
lot of people that we've talked with or worked with in investment, like you need to have a construction plan. You need to already know how much it's going to cost for to do whatever renovations that you're looking for because it needs to be in the number that you're looking to borrow. And you also need to understand how long it's going to take, how many permits, like if you have plumbing issues, how far will that set your project back? Because all of that will impact your bottom line. So the longer that it's staying on the market unsold,
Mm.
the less profit you will receive.
It's
It's a
we
game.
can talk about that all
Yeah.
night.
Say, look,
So
this might be a dual conversation.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
just
like,
saying.
I'm like, how do I get my credit to work for me in order to get into that? Like,
well, it depends on how you want to do this. Do you want to do it from a business perspective,
That
where
would
you're
be the
standing
smartest
on
way.
The
your own,
smartest it would be
Would
business.
be to
Yes.
do it from a business.
or are you trying to do it in your personal? I know people that do them in both. I and my husband prefer to do it in business
Mm.
because we do not like to tie up our personal.
yeah,
So again, we can talk about that on and on and on, but I need my business to stand on its own. I need
Yeah.
my business to be its own
I
representation.
know
I
we were
am now
talking about that.
right.
Yeah.
My business, I am an employee of my business.
Yeah.
So at that point, I can go and I can do multiple streams of income from that, be able to have my hands in multiple areas and still move forward. And it's not tying me down personally, and it's not overextending my debt to ratio. I know you guys have heard about that.
Hey.
That was one of your goals. Okay.
Oh, when I
So-
tell you we get in here right now. It's like-
That happens to a lot of people. Like, okay, I'm gonna buy this property, and then they look up and try to go and purchase something else, and they're told your debt to ratio is out of line. Like, wait a minute, what happened? Because you've overextended according to the income that you make, you cannot borrow over a certain amount with certain things.
So I think you just kind of explained it a little bit.
Okay,
But what
Think you
is
stepped on one of the
oh, I'm
questions.
sorry.
debt
Come
to
on.
capital? I know people talk about it whenever you're looking to mortgage a home. Debt
Yeah,
to capital
so
ratio.
As a lender, one of the first things that I'm going to look at is your debt to your debt to ratio. Ratios, right? So I want to know that if I lend you $100,000, just use a number here, that you are not going to be overextended in the number of debts that you currently have. So that includes your auto, that includes your home. A lot of people don't take into consideration child support. They don't take into consideration student loans. All of that comes into your debt to ratio. So, and I don't want your debt to ratio to be over 45% because it's going
45%.
45%
45%.
because it's going to be a strain for you to pay me back. So that's what I'm trying to keep you away from it. Now, are there exceptions? Absolutely. There's always ambiguity in lending. Remember that. In credit is ambiguity. It's ambiguity in everything. You just
Shit
have to be
IDK. Shit IDK.
you have to be willing to push the threshold. When I hear no, it's to me it's like a yes. I'm about to figure out the little gray area, the little
Yeah.
ambiguity area.
So here's one for you. A lot of people, and I just had this happen to me in one of my deals. A lot of people think that they can go to a Bank of America
Mm.
or Capital
Preach.
One
Preach.
to my bad to get a mortgage loan, and I'm telling you those are the wrong places to go. If you're looking for a mortgage loan,
You said don't go to Capital One?
If you want a high interest rate,
so
Start
tell
over.
'em
Start
why.
over.
Tell 'em why.
if you want a high interest rate, if you want to be in a predatory lending situation. And yes, I can back up what I'm saying. I have the
Gotcha.
credentials for it.
She got the receipts.
I have the receipts and the proof because I've turned these lenders in, the ones that I'm talking about,
Mhm.
because of these situations. You don't want to go to them. You will be, number one, identified as a minority and put into a box, a pre-coded IT box of what you can and cannot
Sheesh.
be approved for,
Mhm.
depending on what areas you want to go into, how much money you want to lend, how much money you want to borrow, your age, like all the factors that they say should not count against you really do count against you. So those are things to look at, but those come in with your major players such as Capital One, Wells Fargo, Bank of America. Like,
Tell me about that.
yes, and like that's part of the reason Bank of America. I know a lot of people are like, wait a minute. Bank of America just launched this new program, zero down,
Yeah.
all minorities.
That's probably why they
Wow.
launched
That
the
is
new
part
program.
of it because if you go and do the research on Bank of America, look at how
Have
many
history.
lawsuits that they
Oh.
have settled out of court for
For being predatory loan.
for predatory lending and for taking people's homes and redlining. So I mean, there is a whole list that we can like really break it down.
Don't do it.
So,
Don't
so
do it.
the remedy for that when you're looking for a mortgage loan is to go to a mortgage lender.
Okay.
That's or mortgage broker. That's your supreme lending, that's your prime lending. Those are the type of place that you want to go to pick up a mortgage loan.
Yeah.
Because to make it simple and plain, they will make the box fit you
Mhm.
versus going to Bank of America, Wells Fargo, you have to fit the box, vice versa, when you're dealing with the mortgage lender. And I've run into that recently where, the guy was like, hey, man, I'm trying to get this. I'm going through this. And midway during the deal, they cut his funding. When I say cut his funding, I ain't saying they didn't cut some of the money. They just,
They took all
you
of
no
it.
longer have a loan with us. You need to
Wow.
go and talk to somebody else. We're already in contract. So, yeah.
So he lost his earnings money. But let me step back for just a second there.
No, he didn't. No, I got his earnest money.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You're a good agent like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No, he didn't
I like
lose
how
the
you said,
house.
oh,
No,
No, he
yeah.
didn't.
I relate my last.
He did lose the house that he wanted to get because
Mhm.
somebody else came in and they had their lending in place. They came in, put a contract on it, they accepted the contract, boom. But a couple days later, he got his stuff in place. He in his house, been in his house now about 2-3 months. But yeah, it gets real. If you don't
Yeah.
have your stuff together, it can go bad.
And just to give a little bit of color around what he's saying. So your major banks are looked at as lenders, and then
Right.
you have what is called a mortgage broker. That's what I am. So I am affiliated with multiple lenders. And what we do is look for the program that fits your situation.
Right.
Tailor made.
Right. Right. So you might be someone that recently came out of bankruptcy that's been a year old, but you have a perfect payment history. Well, we have a lender for that. You might be someone that needs down payment assistance. We have a lender for that. You might be someone, oh, I didn't pay my student loan. So we have a lender for that. So we're able to kind of
And then
work
that's
through
and
situations
then
a little
that's
bit
another
better.
thing is that like she just spoke about programs, like your first time home buyers programs, things of that nature. Sometimes when you go to those bigger banks, they won't even tell you they have those type of
Yeah.
programs. So if you don't know, you can't apply for
Or
it.
if you ask about them, like, we don't participate in it because they're not required to tell you
Yeah.
that they do.
Knowledge is definitely power.
Oh yeah, definitely. You used to have an old saying, if you want to hide something.
There you go.
Mm,
Yeah.
Shit.
mm.
Man,
Very true.
that
Still
ain't
true.
the full statement, but
Yeah.
I'll let y'all fill in the blanks.
But sadly, that's still true though.
Yeah,
So yeah.
definitely. Someone asked me to ask this question, and I guess I'll bring it in now. So we've been working a lot with criminal reform and
Okay.
a lot of the people. So we're doing a documentary on Eric Brown, and so one of the things like he has been people that have been incarcerated wrongfully
Mhm.
for a long amount of time, and then they get out and they have no credit history whatsoever, and they're not getting the opportunities. You know, what I'm saying that regular people would.
Mhm.
How do we work around that? Is it programs that that's available for that, or is
So that's a phenomenal question. Number one. So one of the easiest ways is to go and get a prepaid credit card. So a lot of your major lenders do have prepaid credit cards. So you're looking at your Capital One, your Bank of America. If they're able to get a membership with a credit union, that's a good idea as well because they have prepaid credit cards. It happens, but they have prepaid credit cards.
It's gonna be in the bloopers,
Right. So, but what you're doing though, you're pretty much telling the bank that I am a credit worthy person. So I'm going to hand you my money for you to put into an account for me to borrow against. And yes, they're going to charge you interest on that money. But eventually, probably like at a 6-month period, if you are, keeping that card in a good standing, they'll turn it over to an unsecured card.
Gotcha.
And you can have multiple prepaid cards. I have used that as ways to build some of our clients' credit that even that weren't, incarcerated.
Yeah.
But that's a way for them to do that. Also, as a broker, I can use alternative credit. So if they have rental history that they have had for the past 12 months and it's a positive rental history or 24 months, we can use that. If they have an auto loan, there are other ways that we can pull in, to justify some of the credit that they will need. And then also, if they have someone that will co-sign for them, they can do that as well. So there are some ways. We just have to get what we call creative with the financing.
Gotcha. Get creative and tailor make one that fits.
Mhm.
Gotcha. I answered that question.
When applying for a new credit card, what are some like red flags to look for?
Interest rate.
She beat me to
That's
it.
the first
Interest
one.
rate.
Your interest rate. So of course, with your the younger your credit or the newer your credit, of course they're going to try to give you a higher interest rate. But you also want to look at things like rewards. If you are a traveler,
That was
you
the
want
next one.
to look at a card that's going to give you travel rewards. We travel a lot. I like
Good
going
points.
to the lounges and sitting, with points and things of that nature. Then I also have some of my department cards that give me rewards for shopping there. That's something I value. I mean, you are literally sending me money in the mail for me to continue to shop with you. Then sure, I will continue to shop with you.
Kevin over there like she shop a lot.
I
Bruh.
do.
I'm talking about a lot.
I do.
She got more clothes than Macy's. I
Yeah.
ain't lying.
Not
Sheesh.
quite. But
Got the walk-in closet is bigger than my apartment.
Oh, bro, I'm
see,
thinking.
this is not
I
about
wanna
my
stay
closet
with my
right now. I thought we were talking about credit.
Look, hey man, when your credit is good, you can have big clouds.
That
you
is
want.
true.
Put
That
that
is
on.
true.
What you say,
Back
get off
to
my
the
head.
question.
Get off my head. Get off my head.
That's fair.
But back to another question I had. If you do have, let's say you got those hard
Inquiries.
hard inquiries on your
Inquiries,
credit
yeah.
report, how do you get those off? And like, what's the how long do they last on it? Is it a situation where if I don't look at it, it go away, or is it
So
no? He's like,
so,
nah.
so wait a minute. Let's unpack that really quickly
Uh-huh.
because I really want us to stop saying, okay, if I don't look at it, if I don't open the piece
Because a
of
lot of people think
mail,
that if I
it
don't
will
look
go
at it,
away. It is going to be there. It's going to follow you. It's going
Mhm.
to continue to follow you and probably past the time that is permitted to follow you.
okay.
So address it.
Address it.
Okay. Your hard inquiries, can you get those off? Yes, there are ways to get those off. Actually, when you go and say you're looking for an auto loan, you actually can, if you're doing it within a 15-day period of time, say you go to one dealership. Don't like going to dealerships. Yes, I see that. Don't like going to dealerships because they shop your credit.
Yeah.
They will literally take your credit score down like that
Oh,
because
yeah,
they
they
send
gonna
you off
put
to
you
like
through every
15
one of
different lenders. If you're trying to finance something, go to a credit union. Build you a relationship with a credit union because they're more forgiving than the dealerships are, and you get a better interest rate as well. But you have an opportunity within that 15 days to go in what they call shop your rate, your auto rate, to make sure that you can get a better rate. With mortgages, it's 30 days that you can go back, and it's not going to be as impactful as a new inquiry would be, just for you stepping out there with a new lender.
Gotcha. Another question. I was doing a little web research this
Come on.
past week. It said something about freezing your
That's a beautiful thing.
yeah. Okay.
That's a
Cool.
blessing.
So yeah,
Both,
Freezing your credit?
yes,
freezing your credit.
Yeah.
both of our reports are frozen.
Okay. So
Um,
how do you do that, and what for the shit IDKers out there? What does that consist
So
of?
what credit freezing is pretty much you are putting a halt from anyone being able to pull your credit or report on your credit, actually. Um, what you have to do is you have to contact each individual bureau and you have to ask them to put the freeze on your credit. And then they ask you how long do you want this freeze to be extended onto your credit. So you can put a freeze on your credit for multiple things, for identity theft, just because I'm unsure. I think someone is trying to pull my credit without my authorization.
Mhm.
So they'll say, hey, do you want to put a message on there as well? Yes. Before you extend credit, please contact me. Now, saying please contact me does not mean that you have to put your telephone number on there. It's just saying please contact me.
Reach out to me. Figure out a
Right.
way.
When you freeze your credit, though, each bureau will have you to come up with a code that you give them to unfreeze your credit. If you call in and you forgotten your code, then they won't unfreeze your credit. I have dealt with that before. Like, I'm the one that put the damn freeze on there. They like, sorry, what is your code? Right.
Yeah.
So, but that's a good thing though. So
Yeah.
when you are in the midst of trying to rebuild your credit or trying to establish your credit, that's a good thing. If you've gone through an identity theft, that is definitely a good thing because it stops people from being able to unlawfully pull your reports.
Gotcha. All right. The internet was right for once. So, let's see. I guess going back to the having your business work for you. I kind of want to dive kind of
Mhm.
deeper into that because we're entrepreneurs, most of us, and um, me personally, there is a lot of information that I need to learn as far as like being an entrepreneur and
Absolutely.
how I can make my money work for me.
Absolutely.
So please give me more information on
So one major thing about making your money work for you is making sure that your business is set up correctly.
that.
Either you're going to do a LLC or an incorporation. You then need to make sure that your business can be registered. You need to make sure that the type of business that you are registering is one that is not looked at as a high risk business. High risk businesses
I was
that
just about to say what would be high risk
what is
business?
a high risk business? So
Foreign industry.
Yep.
That was
Actually, no.
talk about it.
No. The porn industry, strip clubs are not looked at as high risk businesses.
Okay. Cool.
Your high risk businesses right now are looked at as
Watch
your
when she hits you with one of these
Yeah.
joints. It's gonna knock your
Let's
socks.
go.
real estate.
Real estate? Ah, welcome to shit out the cake. Welcome.
Watch this. Real estate is looked at as a high risk business. No, the porn or strip club is not because that is actually considered as a sexual consultation business. Anything consulting someone is not looked at as a high risk
I did
business.
not
What
know
about
that. So
restaurants?
Restaurants are definitely looked at as a high risk business.
restaurants?
Yes, trucking
Nowadays.
is looked at as a high risk business.
Why trucking?
Well, um, you have more liability with trucking companies. I know we all hear the lovely commercials.
You
I-
buy a truck.
Texas Hammer.
Right.
Yeah.
Those companies
Yeah,
that
yeah.
seek out and they're considered as high liability companies. So the higher the risk, the
Okay.
Yeah, the liability. If one of your, I mean, you see the payouts.
Yeah, yeah.
We got him $600,000.
Oh, man.
You see the payout.
More
So
than that, $3 million, $3
that
million.
part.
Shit,
So
I'm waiting for a Walmart truck to hit me. Shit, I mean, shit.
I-
I'm waiting.
ironically-
I'm jumping out the car so fast. I'm falling on my
Right.
neck as soon as I jump
I
out.
see.
liability, man.
Companies love it.
Yeah. I mean,
Shit.
but that's one of the ones that are looked at as a high risk one.
Gotcha. So the high risk ones, those definitely.
So for instance, I know someone that is pursuing their photography
Okay.
portion. I would not open them up as a photography company or a photographer or a photo studio. I would open them up as a consultant, an image consultant. Now I have now reduced your risk. When you go into the bank and they say, "Hey, what is the name of your company? And what does your company do?" And they pull up this little magical list of companies, and they're a risk level. Your risk level is now a 4 versus where it would originally been a 15 or 18.
Wow.
The lower,
Oh,
Shit,
bruh.
no.
It's
Bruh.
listen.
Listen.
Insurance is set up like that. When
Yeah.
they insure your business,
Yep.
it's set up on a risk level.
come on, baby. Talk to me.
So yeah, I mean, like real talk, it has everything to do with how much they're going to insure you for.
Mm-hmm.
And the
because-
higher the risk, the higher your premium is going to be.
There you
and,
go.
And let you have one claim, you're done.
What's the stuff they
And this
don't
is
teach
why
you?
credit is
This-
important.
Yeah.
Shoot. Hey, man.
And yes, your credit does impact your insurance.
Mhm.
So a lot of people don't think that. They don't know that. Yes, they do a soft pull. There's a difference between a hard pull and a soft pull.
I was just
Soft
about
pull,
to ask. That was one of my questions.
yeah, the soft pull is just for more informational purposes, just to verify who you are, your address, and get a roundabout information about the type of debt that you have. But for insurance agencies, they also pull your credit to see if you've had any claims. The more claims you have, the higher risk you are. If you never, had a claim, but you have iffy insurance, then you're going to be categorized as a high risk because you're less likely to pay your premium. So if somebody hits you and you are during that coverage period that you still have not paid your premium, they still have to pay you or pay for that accident, but you're now a high risk.
And after they pay you, they gonna drop you.
Oh yeah, they gonna,
Yeah, they gonna drop.
they gonna hit you with that letter in the
Yeah.
mail.
Thank you for being a valued
Unfortunately,
customer.
Yeah, value.
Unfortunately,
that
You
part.
are nuts.
Yes.
Nah, that's wild, man. That's wild. You got my brain just turning over. I'm like, we definitely need to talk
That's
after
that's
this. 'Cause
that's
we
good.
got,
That's
we got some
good.
stuff we got to talk about.
I mean, the biggest thing for Kevin and I, we've gone through some of this stuff from trial and error.
Mhm.
We've been taught some of this stuff, but a lot of it's been from trial and error. We like to help to educate.
Yeah.
That's a big part of what we do. If we're not helping the community and educating,
When she say trial and error, we done been through some of this shit
yeah,
personally.
like
No, that's
we,
good,
we
y'all.
got the war rooms.
That's
too,
why
like,
I mean,
real time.
like that's one of the reasons why we can sit back and say like it's proven because
Mhm.
it happened in our lives.
Yeah.
I mean, me and my wife, we've gone through some stuff. We done foreclosure, we done been evicted
Mhm.
before. I mean,
Yeah.
younger when we were younger, but of course, I mean, it happened, and
Uh,
And
you
some
have
of
to
it was from
learn.
shit we didn't know.
Facts.
Exactly.
And it happened for,
Exactly.
because it shit we just didn't know.
Yeah, and that's crazy. Like y'all are held up in like so like great regards. Like when I first like met y'all like the birthday party, like the part of the description, like, hey, I need you to go work this birthday party. These are the people. They good people. They helped us get a house. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So it
Yeah.
was like, yeah, these are good
Man,
people. So
helping them,
yeah,
and I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Helping them was a pleasure, but at the same time, it was a proving ground for me
yeah.
because they came to our house was like, oh yeah, we done been to several people and y'all can't help us.
Yeah.
Mm.
But we
Like,
get a lot of customers like that.
I'm
I mean,
glad you got confidence in
yeah.
us. She asked for my resume.
Yes.
Let me see,
references,
Yeah.
resume.
Yeah.
I want to, and yeah.
When
Yeah.
it looked me up at the state level,
Oh,
all of
shit.
that. But it's
So-
okay.
It's okay because
I
y'all
can
can
make my
prove it.
So
credentials.
the beautiful story after it all ends is that they bought their house,
Uh-huh.
and a year after they purchased their house, they sitting on like $140,000 equity. And then they're like, "Oh, we love you." I'm like, "Y'all didn't like me at first, though. Y'all didn't like me at
That was
first,
good.
right?"
Yeah.
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 See, that's good. You know what I'm saying? It's even better when you can prove motherfuckers.
Oh, yeah.
That's the
I had to.
But
I had
but
to.
to be honest, I like those type of customers.
Mhm.
Just
I
the
love them though.
challenge.
They my
Oh,
Facebook friends
yeah,
and everything.
this-
Now we good.
This family now
Yeah.
because that's what ends up happening. Our
Mhm.
clients end up turning into family,
No,
and then it ends
definitely.
up because they weren't the first one. We had a couple come to us and they were like, "Oh, we've been to some other people." They told us that we couldn't buy. I was like, "But you haven't been to us.
Yeah.
What is it that you're trying to do?" I'm not understanding why you're 60 years old living in an apartment. So how do we fix this? And they were like, what do you mean? I mean,
I think the biggest thing for me in jazz is like when I'm doing real estate, I'm not trying to make a buck off you. I'm trying to teach you how to purchase a property the right way
and keep it.
and keep it. Because at the end of the day, if put it to you like this, if you a brother, I'm a brother, that's a sister, and I mess over you, then you start to think that that's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Versus if I teach you how to get it done, you can teach her, and we can start to close this damn wealth gap.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, man, they got like 40,000 or 40% more income yearly than the average black family.
Yeah, definitely.
And so it's one of them type deals. It's like, in order to change this dynamic, if all real estate agents thought that way to take your, to treat your customer the way you would want to be treated, put them in the best position possible, we close this thing in a lot less time than what's going on now.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Because like she said, like, put it to you like this. It would change your life if you bought a house for 150,000 last year or 4 years ago, and now your house is worth 300,000. That business you're trying to put together, you could
already to
pull
go.
your equity down, still keep your house, and use that money to start your business. Now your business is paying for your house.
And what was your question? How do I make my
Make money from
Mhm.
That part.
it.
That part.
Yeah.
So it's one of them type deals. But until we learn this and teach it properly, we in bad shape, man.
Yeah. I think we need more people that don't do that. Because right now we got people that's hoarding information and not giving that up.
Yes.
you know?
So I detest it. I'm not an information hoarder.
Yeah.
I like to share the information. Am I proclaiming to know everything? No. But I read, I research, and I'm willing to have those conversations. And it is to me a gift from God to
Yeah.
be able to share this information.
Mhm.
I don't want to be wealthy by myself. It's
No.
lonely. I think
That
Jay-Z
shit
has
is
that in one of
lonely at
his
the top.
songs.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's
But
lonely at the
if you're
top.
the only one in your circle that
It's
has all the
boring
money,
because you gotta pay for everybody. If
but you're gonna find a lot of places they can't go, and you're gonna get tired
that's
of
what I
putting
was
the
gonna
bill for
say,
You
them.
gonna try
gotta
to
pay
yeah.
for
So that,
everything.
that gets old real quick. And I
Yeah.
mean, and it's enough room, it's enough money, enough room out here for all of us to eat at the table and eat
Yeah.
well. So let me help.
Yeah,
Mhm.
this guy, and then I'll get off this. This guy made a statement, and it's so true. He said, when you go to the supermarket, how many different types of bread,
Oh yeah.
how many different
I read
types
Yeah.
of
that before.
water up there? You got
Mhm.
all types of water,
Yeah.
and they all just water.
Mhm.
You know, you got spring water.
Yeah.
So it's enough room for everybody.
Oh, it's enough. It's enough. Yeah. I tell radio all the time, like, hey man, I want to be rich with you. You know what I'm saying? I don't want you.
So I'm gonna challenge you.
Mhm.
Not rich, wealthy.
Wealthy. Yeah, wealthy.
Because wealth
So-
lasts.
Yeah,
Rich is for the moment.
that part.
I have one last question, and it's kind of for me.
Okay, come on.
Yeah,
Let
that's
I'm
me
22. I'm
Okay.
22,
Okay.
and I want to buy a house
Okay.
sooner rather than later. I don't want to be 30 living in an
There's
apartment,
nothing
stuff
wrong
like
with it.
that. So what are, I guess, like 5 things I can start putting away
There you go.
so I can make that process easy?
So the
Couple
first
years.
thing.
You better write it down, 'cause I'm
for real.
about to teach you. Y'all heard this paper round and we write notes in here.
So
Number
my
one.
first question to you is why in a couple of years?
Mm.
Well, just because I know not right now. So if I mean, like I said, sooner rather than later, I don't want to make myself feel like I'm behind because I don't have it. But if
Okay.
I could get it tomorrow,
So the first part,
would
you're
love
not
to.
behind because you're already talking about this.
yeah,
Okay.
amen.
So first thing, pull your credit.
Thank you, because I was gonna say, like, first and
Yeah.
foremost, she's 22.
What
Like,
does that mean? Your son just called and asked us when are we gonna get this property in Houston?
for him,
Yes. In his
That's
name, but not for us. But I mean, that's what my point is. It is never too young to purchase a property. My first property I purchased at 20. So,
I was 26.
but and yes,
I still ain't purchased my
Look,
first
how-
property.
but it's okay.
It's
Look, what do I
coming.
need to do?
It's
But it's
coming.
okay. So the first thing you need to pull your credit, see what's
Okay.
going on with your credit. You need to realistically ask yourself, where do you want to be?
Mhm.
Because this is an investment. So are you buying this as an investment? Or are you buying this for something to
live.
stay in for a
Yeah.
moment? And I'm hoping that it's in for an investment.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Well, go ahead. I'll let you finish.
You also need to start to look at your debt
Mhm.
that you currently have. What is a realistic payment that you can afford?
Mhm.
Hopefully, you got some of that $10,000 debt relief from old Uncle Joe.
We can talk about that too, the
I'm
student
just
loans, because that really we need to kind of go talk
On
about that
student
because
loans.
people are getting some misinformation on that. So those are really your top 3.
Okay.
Okay.
Then once it's time to come get your house, just come back to us.
They got you.
But there let me say this really quickly. Not that I'm trying to push you into anything, but there are
Mhm.
all types of first time home buyer programs that are throughout the state of Texas, throughout really the United States.
So I just need to. Well, but I
When
really
they're
gotta
wait-
find my people.
Yeah. So
I
I
need to
mean,
talk with him.
whenever you're ready. But and it's not that I'm trying to push you because I say this quite often. You don't have to use us. I just want to make sure that you have the information. So if you meet somebody, you can be like, that they don't quite sound
Yeah.
right. You'll have that information to reference back to. But there are all types of programs that are currently out here for you as a first time home buyer. What you're paying in rent is probably
yeah,
more than what you
I
would
know
be
for sure.
paying
That's
in your
why I don't wanna
mortgage.
pay rent no more.
Right.
I know, like
I'm
I
almost
know a
positive
little
there's
bit.
somebody in Dallas right now with a 2 or 3 bedroom apartment that's paying our mortgage.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, actually,
110%.
you ready? One of your clients called that could not get into a house last year because they did not want to do their part by cleaning up their credit. It wasn't us, it was them. They just went up on their rent for
They're going up on all rent.
Yes.
It's kind of ridiculous.
for the 3-bedroom apartment that they're in. You ready for it?
How much?
$2,900.
Yeah.
I said that's more than my mortgage.
Yeah, and it is too.
So I mean, but it's another part of the supply and demand that's going on with across the nation. A lot of houses weren't able to be completed because we had a supply chain issue with construction material. So a lot of people like, I don't want to wait. I'm just going to go into an apartment. And so because the demand went up, they could charge whatever they wanted to for the apartment. So yeah, but if you can get into a house now, definitely try to.
I haven't. I don't know. I just feel like the process is extremely hard because my mom doesn't have a house.
Well, let's talk to her.
Yeah,
And that's that's
I don't
another
know
part.
anything
Like we really
about.
need to remove that stigma because it's not as challenging as a
Yeah.
lot of people think it is. It's a simple process. Is it for the lighthearted? No, because it's going to make you uncap from mistakes that you may have
Mhm.
made that you need to go back and address.
Yeah.
And some people don't want to address them. That's
Some
up to
people,
you.
if you don't look at it long enough, it
Right.
disappears.
But my job is to get you approved for it. And
Mhm.
then his job is to help you find it if you decide to go with us. And then we find something that's within your range. And when you come to us, we give you like, okay, here's at the top of your market, here's the mid, and
Yep.
here's the low. So you decide what
Yes.
part of that price range you want to be in because this is your note to pay, not
Facts.
mine. I want to make sure that you understand, okay, if I choose this price point, this is my interest rate that's locked in for 45 days. This is what I can get. This is where I'm going to go. We help people all the time. We just had a lady that we just closed that she never thought that she would be able to purchase a home. She's the first homeowner in her family in 22 years.
That would.
And the programs that we got her in, which she was able to close for, was a gift.
Yeah.
I just put it to you like that. I don't want to disclose her business, but
But it was a blessing.
yes.
Oh,
But she
she
had some hiccups that she had to go through. Like it was what a year later from when we originally started working with her
Yeah.
that she was able to close
Yeah.
on her house. But now you couldn't buy her for $1 million right now. But she was like, "It's mine. It belongs to me. This is my dirt. This
and
is
then- and
and
it's
it's
a nice house too.
yeah."
I mean,
Yeah.
she got a nice house.
And that's like when we went to her closing. That's what brings me joy.
Oh,
That's what
hugging
brings
and
me
crying,
tears
and
because
I
I'm
didn't
like,
think I was ever gonna get
yeah,
here. And
I was
thank
gonna say
y'all.
those moments of like seeing people like doing it, like what's that feel?
yeah. I mean,
Because y'all are there doing like the groundwork, like the
it's this job is more counseling than anything
Mhm.
because
Personally speaking, I like working with people like what you're talking about that have never purchased a house before because then you can really teach.
Yeah.
The guy that I was telling you about previously who lost his funding halfway during the deal, oh, he had bought several houses. And so he, oh, I know I can get back in. I ain't worried about that. But he lost the house he really should have bought
Yeah.
because the house that he has now, it's a nice house, but the other one had a pool for $50,000 more.
Mm.
and
Did you win or lose?
now he wants to put in a pool and the pool's gonna cost him $150,000.
Right. So
So-
so instead of
Yeah.
so instead of let's just say the house was 400,000, you about to put $150,000 in the ground when you could have bought another house that was 450 that already had the pool.
Mhm.
So I mean, when you're dealing with people that have never purchased a home before, it's easier to teach them and they listen to you versus somebody who's already bought a couple and they know, oh well, we can get this fixed or we can do this because for me as an agent, it makes it so much harder.
Yeah. It's harder to teach a whole body.
There you go. There you go.
Now, I'm definitely forever student in the game. Like I'm like soak up whatever y'all got.
Oh man,
I mean, but we're still learning too. I mean,
Yeah.
learn something new every day.
Yeah.
So
It's that mentality though. You
Yeah.
gotta keep it. You gotta keep that mentality. What are some things that y'all are still
Oh man.
shit, where do I start?
learning?
One thing for me has been very eye-opening is working with the VA, the Veteran Administration, on their funding, USDA on their funding. These are phenomenal programs that they have out there, but there are a lot of loopholes in the programs and that are not advertised. But the programs are made for our veterans or they're made for individuals that are wanting to go into the rural areas. So, for instance, for USDA homes, like if you decide, hey, I want to go get a house that's kind of out in the USDA area, well, your taxes are significantly reduced because it's looked at as farmland. A lot of people don't know that. Or you can just go put a goat out there. Now you significantly have reduced your
I got a
taxes.
chicken.
Right.
Yeah.
It's farmland,
I got
because
Trump got away with Mar-a-Lago.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
It's like
yes, and
just
yes.
gonna bury a body
Yes.
on the land.
That part.
That hole,
Tax-free.
man.
Now it's a cemetery
Tax-free.
and it's tax
I was
free.
like the golf course. I
You-
thought it's a cemetery. You can clearly see it's a cemetery.
But if you think about it, in Texas, there is no zoning. Have you ever asked yourself why there's no zoning in certain areas? You have cemeteries out of nowhere. You have,
Yeah.
in our neighborhood, right down the street from us, we got a house that just has goats. I mean, you just at the stop sign, you see the goat standing on top of the refrigerator with, and my line is
No.
just,
Living the best life.
and it's like
No,
you
man.
surrounded by a huge house. Why are these damn goats around here? What is going on?
Tax break.
Tax break, you know, for the
I need
veterans.
to get a goat. I need to get a chicken.
So the one thing that, like, once I started transitioning and getting into real estate, that I learned from her and her mom was that us, people of color, we kind of slow to the game.
A little bit.
A lot of stuff
We
was
about 200
hidden.
we about 200 years behind.
Well, not even that too, but a lot of stuff was hidden from us about the game.
Yes.
Like it's a lot of folks just now finding out that you can use a life insurance policy to, and I'm like,
to fund your home.
I was about to say, finish that. What?
Yes, bro.
Yeah.
So, but where we mess up out of us, where we mess up at is, okay, we get the life insurance policy, but we stop paying the premium. Like, bro, you got to keep paying the premium, bro, or the money go away.
Like
And so,
$60 a month.
Or you'll say, I don't want to get the life insurance because I don't want to pay that premium. It's going to cost too much. But you'll go out and buy a pair of Louis Vuitton shoes, or you'll go and go kick it on a Friday and turn up, and now you just spent $500 with just paid your premium for like 6 months.
Right.
And it one
Now you trying to get a GoFundMe started when you
Let's not start there.
That's not insurance, bro. That's not insurance.
That is not. Please, people, look into insurance. Bury your policy.
But
These GoFundMes is not it.
The knowledge was it was hidden for a reason. Yeah, definitely hidden for a reason. Like, this is how we got rich. Tell nobody about that.
Knowledge is power. But that goes back to when we started this segment. They use their credit. They don't use their cash. They use their credit. So guaranteeing you, when he buried her on that golf course, he had already cashed in the life insurance policy that was paying for her penthouse, in New York, because it's just a circle of wealth. This is how they kept the money in circulation. They're not borrowing. They don't care. You don't care nothing about filing bankruptcy. You don't care about credit. I have my cash here. I also have credit, but I got my cash here that I've just now made off of her passing. And we hadn't been married, I don't know how long. I got this new wife over here, wife number 10. Don't get me started.
Right, put Ivanka on the ninth hole. Buried on the ninth hole.
On the ninth hole. On the ninth. That's some gangster shit right there.
That's all right.
That's
Melania,
pimpish.
That's
pimpish.
Melania gonna be on the 16 holes.
Yeah.
She gonna be right down the street.
Right.
He gonna be talking. He be like, "Now watch this birdie."
Right. Right.
Wow, that was great. That's smart.
A damn shame.
Smart. God. That's crazy. But
what else you got, brother? Talk to me.
So with that being said, question. Damn it, I just had a fucking Mar-a-Lago.
It's okay. It happens.
It's
threw me all the way off. What is go back to my notes. Let's go back to my notes. Talked about the freezing. We talked about that. What was the last thing we talked about with the banks?
Oh, we talked about a lot.
Was it debt to ratio?
We
discussed debt to ratio.
Discussed debt to ratio. Dang, it was a good question I had. Damn, you got something?
That's crazy.
Well, we talked about what are the things you need to know about to prepare to purchase.
Recession. That's what we was talking about.
Okay.
Recession.
All right, you got it.
What about
it? Don't take long. It don't take long. Going into this, I've heard it called like a maybe recession, or we're in a recession. Like, we are. Okay, so I get people saying we are. We're not.
She ain't no financial analyst. Man, you don't know we in a recession.
She say, really?
I mean, you got degrees. Anyway, she's not an economist. Go ahead and answer your question, sir.
We are in a damn recession.
Okay. Now, what do we do?
Get ready to make money. Okay. Recessions make millionaires. Gotcha. For those that are scared, they sit on the sideline.
And that's true.
Now
that's right.
Still ain't no economist. I'm just saying.
But this isn't a time to get scared. I mean, yes, the interest rates have gone up. And yes, I mean, but they're not any higher than what they were prior to the past 2 years.
The last recession made time. Back in 08.
2008.
I mean,
but this is the same situation that we're getting ready to go into. You can't have, let's really look at what's going on here. You can't have an increase in house prices and an increase in interest rates and think that this is going to stay.
Okay, but I don't think it's going to be a housing crisis this time. I mean, although you think it's going to be another housing crisis?
I think it's going to be a part of it. You're going to have
of course. I think
you're going to have
because
a housing
the supply
crisis.
and demand is off.
gonna have a
Yeah.
housing crisis, and you're also gonna have an auto crisis.
Yeah,
What about the food crisis?
But definitely food crisis is gonna happen. But in terms of housing, let me address
Okay,
that
go
real
ahead,
quick.
go ahead,
In
go ahead.
terms of housing, so we had this big rush of people trying to purchase homes, and then we had no homes that could be purchased, right? We had people going into bidding wars to buy houses.
True.
Now we have builders that have purchased land to offset this, but now they have people that no longer want to purchase these homes. What you think gonna happen to them? The builders' houses are actually out there on lines of credit.
Yeah.
They have to get these houses off of their lines of credit because what will happen if they don't?
We need to talk about builders. We need to talk about home
That's
builders.
that's
Let's talk about it.
a big segment right there.
Yeah.
But if the builders don't get these houses off of their lines of credit, off of their portfolio, the
Mhm.
bank will then start to reduce their line of credit and they will foreclose on those houses. Those houses will now become the investment of a bank, and the bank is going to try to offset that asset because that's not making them money. So we can continue to go into that. But yes, I do think that we are in a recession. And it's not just for me. I have some friends in banking still that are saying the same thing, that we're going to start seeing signs, not as bad as 2008, but
That's what I was
signs
gonna say.
of
It won't be as
2008.
bad as
It
08.
won't be as bad. But this is the time. If you haven't purchased a home before, let's look into it. If you
What about buying land?
if you can find it.
The one thing the
I was
Lord ain't
about to
making no
say,
more
I
of.
was just gonna say,
Yeah,
there's so many
'cause
new
we talked about
restrictions and things
agriculture
like
like a couple of shows ago, and like the ratio from like fertile land, you know what I'm saying, to unfertile land. But fertile land is getting bought up, you know what I'm
Correct.
saying, by industries, and they growing shit that we don't even profit from. They growing soy to feed the damn cows, and we
Correct.
don't even, you know what I'm saying. So, when it comes to like buying property and buying like property to put real estate on, like how hard is that?
To purchase land,
Yeah, to purchase land. Is it hard? Like, is it,
Mm.
what?
same as buying a house. You just got to have the finances for it.
I have a lender that will do raw land financing. I have a lender that will do a modular home. Those are your trailer homes that you can take and put onto the property. With those, you don't get a deed, you get a title because it's on wheels. So it's different ways to look into it. And going back on the land part, the fertile versus non-fertile land, there are ways to help to get the land fertile that you can have the government contracts that the government will come in and now rent the land from you.
Shit. That's another way to make the money.
Exactly.
Right there.
Exactly. So I mean there are ways of flipping this and doing this.
Okay.
Is there land out there? There's one thing that God is not continuing to put on this earth is additional land. So if you can get the land, yes, by all means. There will always be tax sales. There's something else we can talk about. There will always be opportunities where people have inherited land and they no longer live in that state and they don't want to have anything to do with that. They want to just offset it. Okay, let me come in and purchase it. There's ways of picking that information up to be able to go and capture that. So you just got to be ready. But
Yep.
this is the time when a lot of people hear the word recession and they turn into turtles. They go into their shell. They don't want to move forward. This is the time that I've
Because
been.
when you hear it, it's like a horror story. Like
Of
it's
course, I
yeah.
mean you hear the easiest way for me to keep or hoard the information on wealth
Mhm.
is to tell you it's gonna be a recession. We gonna have no food, we ain't gonna have no water, we're gonna have a light issue. But everybody gonna go into their little shell and not buy anything. And now the people that have put out these reports, they have bought up everything.
Yeah.
And they sitting pretty. And then if we come out the recession, you like, well damn, when you get this high rise
Exactly. Why'd
building.
you do that?
Right.
They
So
building while you in the house.
yes,
It's like the
exactly.
pandemic. Like,
How we get shut
the
down.
pandemic.
And with our culture, we are very quick. We are gun shy. That's what I call it. When we hear these things, that's the first thing. Well, I'm already living paycheck to paycheck. I don't want, I don't want to be able to not feed my kids. I don't want these are all the things that they think about instead of trying to figure out a way to come out of those situations. So
What would you suggest to somebody who is living paycheck to paycheck to go out? How would you?
let's sit down and talk about your budget. Let's look at what you're dealing with. Everybody starts paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
It's amazing what some people make and versus their bills. A lot of people think they live paycheck to paycheck. They mess off a lot of money.
Yes.
They
Eating
really just
out.
irresponsible.
Yeah, eating out, subscriptions.
Eating out every day.
Yeah, I mean, I read an article today. It was like this one person makes $250,000 a year living paycheck to paycheck. This person makes $50,000 a year, will retire early, and isn't because they decided not to eat out twice a week.
You'd be surprised, man. Like
Yeah.
Sister, how much did it cost you to get your hair braided?
I do it myself.
Smart lady. Average, what does it cost?
Like
$200
$300.
to 300,
Yeah.
depending on.
Damn, I didn't know how to braid.
See what I'm
I
saying?
didn't get your number.
I mean, you talking about, I mean, and I'm not just talking for ladies, but
Yeah,
most,
man,
most
too.
of the time
We
it's
in
ladies.
we in our here. We in our
But I mean,
Yeah.
but if you think about it, it's like to get your nails done now. Nails are a hot commodity now. You're gonna go to the nail shop. You're gonna
Nails,
spend about
eyelashes,
$70 to
hair.
$80 on nails, and it's just plain. No,
Easy.
no design,
Exactly.
anything. So the cost of what the beauty industry, that's one industry that will not hit a recession.
Yeah.
So like if you're looking to invest in something, there you go. Look into the beauty industry. You live in paycheck to paycheck instead of you know, going and paying somebody for that service. Why don't you learn how to do that service? Because now you've turned yourself into an industry that people are still going to patronize in a recession.
Definitely. During the pandemic, women was getting
Yeah,
their eyebrows done.
exactly.
Getting caught
So,
getting your hair done.
yeah, it's a couple things. I mean, your local, weed guy, your
Yeah,
nails,
all that,
your beauty
if you in
industry.
pharmaceuticals, you definitely
Right.
still,
You see what I'm saying?
Still
There,
popping.
there are areas that will
Probably even
continue
more.
to
Right.
thrive.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Exactly. That will continue to
especially if
thrive.
you adapted delivery.
Yep.
I ain't gotta leave my house.
Yeah,
Right. Are you gonna bring it some this dashing? Oh, where do I sign up?
Yeah, all of that. So it is ways to maneuver during a recession, and it's a misconception of shut down during a recession.
There is a misconception, but you have to be willing to do your research. Don't take my word for it. Do your research. This is a time for you to buckle down, and either they tell people all the time, either you're gonna be made a millionaire or you're gonna be afraid and you're gonna sit in the house. If you're afraid, it's okay. You figure out when your timing is right for you. But for those that are close to me, I've been saying this for probably about the past 2 years. This is coming.
Yeah.
You better get ready.
Yeah.
Hey. Let's get ready for this. And
Yeah.
it's real.
No, definitely. You better get ready. We spoke about, I guess, pulling your credit. Like, what are what's a good credit score for someone like starting out and they want to like purchase a house?
So right now, well, let me back up here. When you're looking to purchase a home, we pull all three bureaus and we take the middle score out of the three.
Okay.
Okay. So you definitely want to know what your credit score is.
Well,
But
fix that. Fix what you just said, because you said the middle score. So when you say the middle score, it used to be, before I understood it, it was one of those, okay, so whichever one is in the middle. You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
TransUnion, Equifax, whichever one's in the middle, that's the one
No.
they take.
So
I'll just take the highest one. Like
That
right.
so
So
I mean, Equifax,
Please,
like, hey,
please.
hey, 7 right here.
Right. Well, let
Clarify.
me add some color to that. So, say we pull your TransUnion and it's a 600. Say I pull your Equifax and it's a 610, and then I pull your Experian and it's a 620.
Did anybody look at credit wise?
Talk about them.
I was about to say,
So
I got some shit to do.
what about this? So the 610 is the score that I will use because that's the middle of the three scores. So your lowest was 600, your highest was 620, your middle was a 610. So that's the score that I would use to say, okay, we're not quite there yet. So the minimum that I have to have for you now is a 620. The minimum for you to utilize a down payment assistance program is a 630 to 640, depending on the program. So, and these are down payment assistance programs, which is something else that you can write down too. Be careful on your down payment assistance programs because sometimes they will put a lien on your property that you are required to pay that off. It's not a grant, it is a loan for you to use to get into your home. It has to be paid off if you sell the home or if you decide not to live in a home after a certain extended period of time.
Can you get grants? How does
You
that
get
work?
grants for anything. Find a grant online that you want, apply for it, and see if you get approved for it. Now, the grant process can take a little long, but a lot of the down payment assistance programs that we work with, they are grant approved programs, so their approval process is faster because they've already gone through the overall grant approval process.
Just briefly tell the listeners and the viewers like where they can find you and like what you guys.
I knew that was gonna happen.
You knew it was gonna
I knew
happen.
that was gonna happen. So for those of you that are looking for me, we actually have two locations. We have one in Texas and one in Tennessee. We are from Tennessee. You can find us at residentialinc.net.
It's
Am I
like
soon?
it's like Dora. Give y'all some time to process.
Right.
Yeah.
Residentialinc.net. What
They
you
should
was
be good. I
They
got
should be
it. They
Yes.
should
good.
be
They should be
Yes,
good.
just a disclaimer, when you see that, when you pull up the website, you will also see on there that we do residential. It's called the name of our company is Residential Loss Mitigation, and Residential Inc. of Texas. Residential Inc. Of Texas, of course, is our lending arm. Residential Loss Mitigation is the arm that we help people that are dealing with foreclosures. So just like we said, we can help you get into a home. We can help you keep
stay
your
in
home.
that part.
So a lot of people have gone through the forbearance period because of COVID-19. And they went through that period of holding on, or the lender paused them from paying payment on their home. And now it is time for those payments to come due. And the lender has reached out to them and say, hey, you owe us $130,000. And they're like, wait, whoa, where am I going to get this money from?
Yeah.
Well, you have up to 60 days to get us this money, or we're going to start a foreclosure proceeding. Do not listen to that. We have programs that can help you save your home, help you to modify your home so that you can still stay in your property. So don't listen to that. If that is a situation that you're dealing with, we can definitely help you through that. I would love to come back and speak to your viewers, your subscribers specifically on that, because that is one of the largest things that is impacting our nation across the board, because a lot of the forbearance periods have been lifted. A lot of the stays have been lifted, and now lenders are just kind of free falling
Coming back with a
on,
vengeance.
yes, on
Yeah.
foreclosures, and there a lot of it is being done unlawfully. So, but that is another division of our company where we help people to keep their homes, and we've been in business for, oh, wow, it's aging me, isn't it? I've been in the industry for 18 years, but the company has actually been open for 27 years.
Yeah, it's been around for a while. I was trying to put the numbers together, and I was just like, yeah. But it's been around for a while.
Yeah.
Yep.
For me, I just leave my email address. I just leave, 'cause I hadn't, I'm using my personal phone as a business phone right now. So, but I can be reached at gaussrealty@gmail.com. Or you can go through the website. It'll funnel down to me. But yeah.
We're gonna put it right here somewhere. So
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
right here somewhere floating around
Absolutely.
in this area right here.
I got you. Yeah. If anybody that reaches out to me that says that they, heard about me on the podcast, yeah, I'll definitely
Promo code
take
shit
care of
IDK.
There
Promo
you
code
go.
shit
There
IDK.
you go.
Yes,
There you
yes, yes, yes.
Get it there. Get it there. No, that's dope. As you notice, we have some objects here on the table.
Yes.
These are pretty much relics of my childhood, and we some nerds and blurs around here.
Hey. I'm not against it at all.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? We like learning information. We like we try to find a common ground with our guests, you know what I'm saying? We learn a lot of stuff, but we also want to learn what helped make y'all tick, what made y'all tick, because a lot of things, you know what I'm saying, we find a common ground with comic books, TV shows, what was y'all childhood like? You know what I'm saying? Like what helped mold y'all? So is anything, y'all want to just, tell us about what show did y'all grow up on? What y'all like?
Oh man, I'm the average brother.
Okay.
Fresh Prince, all that.
Okay.
Me and Jazz are two coins of the same stone, or two, however the saying goes. But we also are from different sides of the track.
Two coins of the same stuff.
How does it go? I don't know, bro. I'm just, I don't know. Two peas in the pot.
Two peas in the pot.
Something like that.
Two halves of the same coin.
There
you go.
Trying to help you out, but you just
Two peas. I mean, look, I don't even know anymore. Two peas.
Oh, she remind me.
We're similar and different.
Gotcha.
Our birthdays are 7 days apart. However, I grew up in the hood.
Yeah.
Her family grew up with some money. So
damn.
My childhood, this is my childhood.
Okay, cool.
But this is my childhood too. Like I looked at She-Ra, and I mean, this wasn't.
Okay.
Fraggle Rock was my thing.
Yeah.
See, you don't even know about Fraggle Rock.
Look, you making me feel old.
What's Fraggle Rock?
Are you serious? You need to Google it.
Yep, sure do.
The shit you didn't know.
I do. They used to
live up under the ground.
It don't sound like you do.
It don't sound like you know.
It's okay.
I know of it. Good enough. More than you.
She's 22.
Sound like some people under the stairs type shit.
Yeah.
Look, my aunts used to talk about it.
It's kind of similar to that.
It's like Nicholas. I can say Nicholas. Rock. It sounds like some Nicholas type of behavior. Yeah.
No, man, but hey, I had a normal childhood. I'd like to think I did. I grew up in Memphis, Tennessee, and Houston, Texas. And I mean, literally, like
Oh yeah.
2 years there, 2 years there, 2 yeah,
Years that back and forth.
yeah.
What part of Houston?
A-Leaf, man.
A-Leaf.
The
Okay.
SWATs.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Southwest A-Leaf, Texas.
Yeah.
Shout out to the mud. Yeah.
Okay. I can dig it. Victoria, she from Third Ward.
Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So she always give me shit about like the Houston violence. You know what I'm saying? My house is filled with Houston shit.
So yeah. Well, I'm gonna let her go ahead. Tell your Rixie ass child.
Well, damn. I mean, yes, I grew up on the opposite side of the track. I am from Collierville, Tennessee, which is a small
That sounds
town.
pretty.
It's a suburb.
It
It's a suburb.
Suburb. It is a suburb of Memphis, Tennessee. I am from Memphis, Tennessee. Normally I just tell people Memphis because when you say Collierville, that's the reaction that you get. Yeah. Let's see. I had a normal childhood though. I come from a family of entrepreneurs. Everybody in my family owns a business.
Yes,
My grandfather was very intentional about that. We do not work for other people. That is not an option. And if you do, it better be just for you to gain knowledge and move on.
Oh, definitely.
Let's see what else.
Oh, let's ask the questions, man.
So we always ask this question: if you had a superpower, what would it be?
Oh man, you want to go first?
Please, you go. Go ahead. Go. Because you itching for this.
To be invisible.
Invisible?
Quickly. Quick. Gone.
Just
bruh.
disappear.
I'm robbing banks. I'm grabbing
Now,
booties.
It's always now it's always a pullback when I hear the invisibility because you gotta have a drawback. One of them being your clothes go invisible with you.
So when you do come back,
are you naked?
You make it back.
Am I naked?
Yeah, because it's got to be a drawback. Like if I'm able to fly, I want to be able to land without being hurt.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying?
Right,
like it's always
So first and foremost, I wouldn't want to be invisible all the time.
Okay,
but if it's my superpower, then that means I can turn it off.
Yeah.
So when you turn it on and you decide to turn it off,
give a shit. I can be naked. You can't see.
That's what he gets to. That's
what
when you turn it back on.
So you just gonna be out here just naked and invisible,
robbing banks, and grabbing ass. Yes.
It's like your ass going to jail.
Your ass going to jail.
You can't see me.
But you accidentally turn it off.
Yeah.
Come on now.
When you sneeze and then it's just like, oh shit. You in the middle of a bank, just
you might want to think about
just
this.
ass out with bags. Just,
hey, look, at the end of the day,
naked man robs bank.
See, for one thing, Superman had a vast array of powers.
Mm-hmm.
You said if I could have one.
Well, Superman was an emo. Like think about it. Superman, strongest motherfucker in the world, but let somebody hurt Lois Lane. Oh, he is fucked over. Like he was. True. You couldn't like that. He was so emotional behind her. Let anything happen to her, she leaving that nigga. It was like, you know. So it's always a kink. It's always a kink in the
hood. We call that being whooped.
Yeah.
Okay, what's your superpower?
Laughing at your crazy ass. I think I would do time travel.
Time travel, backwards or forward?
Both.
Both.
Oh,
okay.
Need to understand where we came from. To understand where we're going.
She gonna go back and kill all the slave masters.
You know,
she gonna take an AR-15 from now and go back then.
Not so much take the AR-15. I'm gonna give them the same punishment that they gave to our people.
Oh Lord!
You know how I look.
Okay, I think a drawback with that, you can only take one thing with you each time you jump.
I'm not gonna take anything with me. If I jump back. I'm using whatever if he whips her, I'm about to take the whip out your hand and beat the shit out of you.
Yeah, but you
ain't got no weapon with you. Like
even more than that, she need a superpower. Because if you go back in time, your ass is a slave too.
That's true. That's true.
So you need you need to be invisible.
I need to take your invisibility with me.
Take me with you.
Yeah.
Or be invincible too. A strength or strong.
But yeah, for me, invisibility for sure.
Invisibility, time travel.
Yeah. Man, you
But to be honest, on the time travel part, it would really be for the knowledge.
Yeah.
I done gave my email address, so I can't act the fool like I want to. But boy, I'm talking about you gotta think about it. Invisibility. Whoop a cop's ass. He don't know who hitting him.
You don't know nothing.
Just getting beat.
Just neck just hurting.
So this is
Just
why.
number neck
But
checks.
see, this is why I would need the time travel part, so I can go
Yeah.
back and document the part that he did. So if I have to
gonna
defend
leave
his
that out.
ass,
I'm just saying. I mean, like, not the good cops, not the good cops,
You gotta
not
preface
the
it.
good police.
We
I
do
still
not-
got to get home. But
No,
I'm talking about,
we-
like,
we have family members that are police officers,
Mhm.
and we love the good ones.
yeah,
But them bad cops I'm using, I'm hiding every left turn shoe that you got. I'm doing all kind of
Like,
shit. I'm
prime,
fucking up
prime
your
example.
shit.
Prime example.
It's
You just doing weird
It's
shit.
gonna be some weird shit. You gonna I'm being,
Empty the bread, just see the ass of the bread. In
that's
the bag.
it. You ain't gonna have no. I'm taking a whole loaf and just leaving you the ass.
Man, I'd be a national hero. I'd have saved them kids in Uvalde,
All
choke the
that.
shit out of
Yeah.
dude. He'd been like just choking in the
Someone
corner
walk in,
somewhere. He
you
don't know what's going on. Don't worry about the police. I got him.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would use my powers for good, but I'm gonna be paid too.
Definitely.
Gotta hit that bank.
Definitely. I don't think superheroes get paid. Like I would definitely like it'll definitely be a fee. Like I would charge people. So if I could fly, like I will carry you over here for a fee.
Okay.
Little Uber.
No Uber, Air Uber. I'm
Air Uber.
Air Uber.
The what was that? Batman versus Superman. One of the movies. At the end of the movie, Batman had to buy the bank because Superman's parents had lost their house. You see what I'm saying? I ain't trying to be like that.
Yeah. He's like, how'd you get the house back? I bought the bank.
Yeah, he bought the bank.
Batman to do some shit like that.
Yeah. Superman should have never had to pay for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't save the world a couple times over.
You know, it's a company that's doing it now. Disney is doing that now. You know,
What's that?
like they'll just like buy the company that owes. So like
Mhm.
Marvel,
Mhm.
they lost a lot of shit,
Yeah.
but they split back then. It was like, fuck, how we gonna get it back from Fox? Disney's like, we bought it 2 weeks ago. It's all right. This shit.
And
Yeah.
Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, stuff like that.
Yeah. Man, Mark Zuckerberg. I was watching his interview with Joe Rogan, and yo, that dude there is on a different level.
Yes, he
coming
is.
to this,
Yep.
technology phase of things. They're already trying to figure out like a integrated software where you can like, I think it's called like AR.
Yep.
alternate
That's why the
reality.
rebranding came to Meta.
Mhm.
They need to.
Yep,
I'm,
I'm kind of scared of that though. Like we're
Why? It's already here.
it's already
Mhm.
movies like documented like Terminator, fucking what's the new one? Love, Death and Robots.
But it's not even in the movies. This is actually live. So
Yeah.
you ought to check out the CES conference. I go every year. So
Oh,
that's the geek side of me,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because
yeah.
I want to know what's coming down the pipeline.
Definitely.
It's already there. They've already demoed some of this stuff. So
So
Meta is a stock that you should look into.
I'm gonna look into it. So I gotta ask this question. Like whenever I get somebody tech, like what do you think about like as humanity or as technology progresses, humanity evolves. So what do you
Correct.
think about that? Like if we are getting into this space where it's gonna be meta or in the metaverse where like reality is like other end nobody's thinking about it. Like the demise of the human race is gonna go crazy. You're gonna shift into anarchy, you're gonna shift into people that don't know how to talk to people. Like
It's already
I mean,
happening
yeah,
a
though.
lot of
definitely.
that's I'm seeing a lot of
I
that
mean,
now.
this already taking place. I mean, it really goes back to man will be the destruction of himself.
yeah,
So it's not a positive evolve.
yeah.
Some people say that it is, but it actually isn't. We should be trying to figure out how to take care of our planet to stay here, to maintain here. Won't. And eventually we'll turn into some of the movies that we have seen.
Oh, definitely.
Or, we're
Elon
living
Musk
up
already like
underground.
shit. Going to the stars.
That
Shit.
part, And a lot of that, they've been working on that for,
There can't nobody live up there.
Mm.
Not yet.
Not yet.
No, man.
I see it as we're gonna turn into what's the movie? Not Wally.
Oh, definitely Wally. It's definitely Wally. I was
not
waiting
just
to
Wally.
bring that up. It's Wally.
But yeah, what's the movie with the spaceship where everybody's just floating and like everybody changed color to red? Now we're blue. What movie was that? Was it Wally?
Was it an animation movie?
It was Wally with the
With all the little fat people.
Yeah, Wally was
Wally.
the big, like Wally. Man, they know something that we don't know. Just like Bugs Life was about the.
Oh, yeah.
Bugs Life was about like being under oppression. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? The population of the people versus the oppressor.
Mhm.
Like that was. I always learn something from. That's why I still watch animated movies,
Oh, we do
animated
too.
series. Won't hear me say cartoons because
So let me ask you this then: did you like Lovecraft?
I love Lovecraft.
Rah.
Oh, I loved it. It was all of the events. Like it's all the way down from the
I know why they took it out the air though.
oh yeah, because it's
Because
We all know what
that thing was gonna stir up some.
it was gonna stir up.
it
a
was
lot.
already stirring up.
Yeah, it was stirring up a lot.
Bro, did you see the one when she they was popping the pill and wake up a white woman?
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
Mhm.
man, the whole town treat the lady different because she white now.
Everybody.
I had to pay for anything, but that's the truth of what we deal with on a daily basis.
You have women, men and women that's way qualified to be in the positions that they're given. You know what I'm saying, at birth. So it's like, would you do that?
Do you think they take certain black shows off TV to keep us
Of
from being
course,
riled
of
up?
course. Think about it. So we have so many great stories of like historians, over the years and years. We have
Mhm.
black astronauts. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. We
they
are
let
history.
yeah,
They
we
don't
are the
even teach
history.
it in schools.
Yeah.
Mm.
So the ladies that helped
How you start
they
that.
helped NASA, the ladies that helped NASA get the
Yes.
code and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That was just one
Yes.
that they let slip through.
Yeah.
Imagine all the other stories. Like
And part of it was she didn't buck the system, right?
Mhm.
She was they were able to tame her, as
Yeah.
they say. So I think that's why they take a lot of our shows
Mhm.
off because it's going to rile us up, get us,
Yeah.
wait a minute, this shouldn't be.
Well,
And so
I think a lot of the movies, and me and Ricky had this conversation all the time because he's like, man, why we don't have this movie on this and this movie on this? I'm like, man, you got to look at who owns Hollywood still. You got to look at we just like Tyler Perry, his studio. That's just
mhm,
one.
it's just one.
That's just one. You know what I'm saying? So it's not an equal shake when it comes to like telling these black stories.
No.
You know,
I know he has his own catalog of stuff, but I wish he would pick up 2 shows:
which one?
Lovecraft Country
Uh
and Underground.
huh.
Bring both of them back.
Okay. So I would play devil's advocate with this when I say this. What do you think about us still making slave stories to this day? And this is me playing devil's advocate.
No. I don't.
I have my opinion about it.
So for me, I don't particularly mind the slave stories.
Mhm.
I want to see some winning slave stories.
Gotcha.
If we gon'
Some more Nat Turner stories. And stuff
yeah,
like
show
that,
me
yeah.
some where we win.
Yeah.
I'm tired of seeing the oppressed one, all the time.
I just want to see good stories with black leads, and it doesn't have to be I'm black. You know what I'm saying? To do it. It was I forgot the name of the story, but it's on Amazon. But it's just a story. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And it just happens to have black people in it being leads. And it's
Mhm.
not under I hate it when Netflix put out the category black
Yeah,
stories of black,
yeah,
Mhm.
you know what
yeah.
I'm saying?
BLM.
BLM, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Shit like that. Like why
Well,
can't it just
the reason that they're doing it right now is
Mhm.
because being black,
Yeah.
that's the thing right now.
Yeah.
All companies are trying to figure out how
Mhm.
do I expand my leadership of African Americans? How do
Yeah.
I show that we're a more diverse company? How do I make sure that we're including them at the
Yeah.
table? So that's why they're sectioning it out. It didn't make us feel good,
No,
but
but I understand like the whole representation piece, you know what I'm saying? Well, we need to be seen in this, but like I say, man, it could okay, so put it like this. So have you ever like watched a movie and it just like happened to be funny?
mhm,
You know,
Yes.
rather than like going to a category like this is a comedy
mhm,
and like it's like slapsticks where everybody like I'd
mhm.
much rather just see a story that's like, oh, this just happens to have black people in it and it's doing the roles. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
I
my
totally get it.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think the narrative of
Would
that
you
is
say Jordan Peele kind of has movies out like
I
that?
think Jordan Peele is falling off.
Did y'all see Nope? I like Nope.
I did, and I liked it.
You
I
like
liked
that?
Nope.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I
I
liked
mean,
it.
that's kind
Did
of
you
just a
see it?
movie just black people. I mean,
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
necessarily glorifying any type of
Well, one of the
success
things
story or anything.
no,
And,
no.
and truth be told, Lance, keep it real.
Mhm.
You tired of seeing the white girl slip and fall? You tired of seeing her slip and fall? And you
Yeah.
tired of that, bro?
Yeah,
Give
you
me
I don't
something
even
know,
else.
watch
definitely.
those.
When that
Huh.
horse
I
came
said I don't even
through the
watch them.
windshield, dude was like,
I only watch
nope,
I don't
nope,
watch
nope, nope.
Did you watch Hump the Jesus Save My Soul?
I have not. I need to see that
All
now.
right, no spoiler alerts, no spoiler
Bro,
I
alerts.
I
haven't
saw
seen
I'm
it
a
yet.
I saw a trailer where they was both rapping in the
yeah,
car.
that
The
scene was
Nuck If
funny
You
as
Buck,
shit.
that was
Bro,
I
that
enjoyed that.
scene was funny as shit because we know how it happens. We know
Yes.
how it goes. We know the mask that we have to put on in society.
Yep.
So that was a good scene to like have that,
Yeah.
because we all battle with that duality.
Yep.
And that's even like going back to like we've always like going into like corporate jobs and stuff like that. We've always had to battle with that duality.
Yep.
You
Yeah,
better
absolutely.
have a corporate America voice, or you're not gonna get this.
Facts.
You gotta,
Yeah.
and I'm
I
and I'm
put mine
saying
on
corporate
David when I
America
talk to my
voice, but we
customers.
really want to say your white person voice. Like you
Yeah,
gotta
Well,
yeah,
work
I
yeah.
mean,
on.
when I met my husband, my now husband, he thought I was a white chick
I
because
did.
I was on my way to a conference
I
and the
did.
voice that I had on,
Was your corporate
Dude,
America
the
voice?
little white girl sound fine on the phone.
and then
Sound like she mess with brothers.
Yeah. That's terrible.
but it's the truth. I mean, mean, my corporate voice, if you all call and they transfer you over to me, it's gonna sound like a white lady over on the other side. But
Yeah.
it's not to mass, it's just I've had to do it for so many years, so it
Mhm.
just naturally happens.
Gotcha. Yeah. What do you it's needed though, right?
Oh,
Like
It's definitely needed. I have been that, and this gonna sound really crazy. I have been the chocolate chip in the shortbread cookie multiple
oh
times,
yeah.
sitting at the corporate table.
I know exactly what you
Um,
mean.
so do I have those uncomfortable conversations all the
Mhm.
time? Just recently went to a conference, and that was part of what I was speaking about at the conference. So is it required? Yes, because it allows them to take their guard down for me to really explain to them what our needs are, what we're experiencing.
Mhm.
It also helps me to get in a shit sometimes.
Yeah.
I can't get in a shit like a black chick and be like, oh my
Yeah.
God, she's
she's so
rolling her eyes.
abrasive.
Oh my
She's so
God.
abrasive.
Sometimes you gotta read them like
Her
they need to
her
be read.
bedside manners, like I've heard this before. Her bedside manners are just like non-existent. I'm like, bitch, do you huh?
What?
So then, but when I
You
so
say that on the podcast?
Yeah, this is shit
so
IDK. You can
right,
say
see.
whatever you want.
So, but when I come to them and like, well, let me kind of give you a little insight about how it has impacted, our culture over the past years. Oh, Jasmine, let's talk about that. Like, what the? Let me punch you in your face.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, there's been times I've called him after sessions and stuff, and I'd be like, down there in tears, and he's like, babe, just remember to go, remember to
Mhm.
focus. I'm like, it gets exhausting.
No, definitely.
So,
To anybody that's in corporate America, and I'm pretty sure you have listeners that are in it. You have to keep in mind that if you are the chocolate chip in that shortbread cookie, representation matters.
yep,
And you being there might
yep,
open the door for somebody
yep.
else.
Yeah.
So I know it sucks, but I'm sure it sucked to be Harriet Tubman. But somebody had to navigate that path. So
Definitely.
you being there matters.
Yep.
When I was working in the hospital, experience, like I was literally the one of the first black males and the first to have locks
Mm-hmm.
at the time. So, and this was around the time before the Crown Law and before
Mm-hmm.
all of that. And it was like I had, I had to actually like set one of them like on the right path of
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying of righteousness, telling them, hey,
Mhm. So did
yeah.
you get the normal of, "Can I touch your hair?"
Oh, so many times. No, no. I had this one. So how do you get your braids like that?
Yeah, and they're not
They're
braids.
not braids.
Yeah,
And they're not
yeah,
dreads either. They're
yeah.
They're
locks.
locks.
They're
Right.
Yeah.
locks. It's nothing dreadful about my hair.
Oh,
Right.
So I would have to have those kind of conversations. Then we had the Black Lives Matter. No, this was before like when it was a time like so when Black Lives Matter like started and like a lot of people didn't believe it. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying about the police brutality? It was like, oh, that's not true.
Oh, yeah,
Black people are equal just like everyone else and
really
all of
now.
this and I'm just like,
We still have those conversations to this day,
yeah.
and just in the real estate industry that
Mhm.
a lot of people like, "Oh, in Texas, oh, I wanna go stay in Duncanville," or
It's so much stuff that happens behind the
this
scenes in real
Yeah.
and
estate,
it's
man. It
like,
ain't funny.
hey, if you are on a line of I can barely afford where I'm going to stay, be mindful of where you're selecting to stay. Yes, it matters that where you stay. If you are going on a part of town where there are a lot of, I hate to say it like this, but this is so true, where there are a lot of minorities, a lot of African Americans, it is guaranteed that your light bill, your water bill, your gas bill will be significantly higher
Why is that?
than because it's called
Because you have a
redlining.
bunch of people in a concentrated area of the same color.
Yes.
So we can't necessarily say that you can't live in this area, but we can make it uncomfortable for you.
And we can also say that I will put you in this area. We will redline, make sure that those rates are higher in those areas to keep you oppressed.
Yeah.
You are more likely to go into foreclosure. You are more likely not to be able to pay your car note. Your car will be repossessed than in these other areas. And it can be the same house that is on a same bill style across town, and light bill is $200 to $300 less. We've seen it. we're witnesses of it. So I always tell people when you're looking in neighborhoods, look for a multicultural neighborhood.
Gotcha.
Not saying go into a predominantly Caucasian neighborhood, but look in a multicultural neighborhood. Also, the education is better in those neighborhoods
Yeah.
because the
Very
taxes,
true.
Definitely.
they're making sure that those tax dollars that you are paying, because Texas is very proud of its taxes here,
Definitely.
that they're actually going into those schools to make sure that those children are getting a valid education at a public school. I don't have to put my child into a private school to get a top-notch education.
Right.
Versus if I go on another side of town, I am going to have to put them into a private school or a charter school for them to get a decent education because they won't get the same Chromebooks or notebooks
Yeah.
and things. And it's real. Like our kids went to a school that they received Chromebooks 2 years before across town. And it was like they just passed out Chromebooks like they
Candy.
composition books. Like,
Yeah.
come get your Chromebook,
Yeah.
type thing. And I'm looking at a child that can't even get a Chromebook, wouldn't even know what a Chromebook is because of the part of town that they stay on. So it's
It's
real.
it's definitely like when they talk about the education disparity or the
It's real.
difference in like it's real. They talk about the funding where one school has all this stuff and the other school doesn't. It's real.
No, definitely.
It's
definitely.
real.
My sister had to write a paper on that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's definitely a unbalanced playing field.
Oh yeah, very
Yeah.
frustrating playing
Yeah.
field. But those are things to look into as you all are embarking on getting your credit corrected because some of the same credit challenges that we have as minorities, Caucasians have the same
Same ones.
ones, but they're not rated the same.
Yeah.
They're not looked at, oh, you missed this payment. Now we're going to take 30 points from you. Oh, you missed this payment. You've had great payment history. Don't
It's
worry
forgiven.
about it.
It's forgiven.
It's forgiven.
Yeah.
Or when you are negotiating to pay off debt and you call a creditor and say, hey, I'm willing to pay this off if we can go ahead and do a settlement amount. Can you take off some of the late fees? Can you take off, a portion of the interest? If I go, oh, no, we cannot do that. But if I was to call as a Caucasian person, sure, I will go ahead and we'll waive 12 months of late fees and 12 months of interest if you can pay it right now.
That happened with one of our clients
Yeah.
recently, like in the last 2 months.
Yeah.
She got on the phone with that voice and
And the lady was
she didn't even
rude.
ask for all the stuff that the lady
Yeah.
gave her.
Yeah.
And the lady was rude. I was like, I'm sorry. I thought we were working together here to
Mhm.
solve this debt.
Yeah.
Next thing I know, she was just throwing stuff in. Like I was like, okay.
We're gonna waive this late fee as
We're gonna
well.
waive this late fee. Here's a complimentary
Yeah.
bed and breakfast.
So, but to mess
Yeah.
her up at the end of the call, you got the real Jasmine. Well, thank you. I
Ah.
appreciate you taking the time to work with my client.
I bet when they get off the phone, like, I don't even think she was right. Like,
Then that's the point. That's the point. So,
it'd be like that.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's really unfortunate, and I don't want the show to sound like,
or race
one way or the other
Right.
as far as like race is concerned, but like it's prevalent.
No,
Like
it's definitely
like when you get in business,
Mhm.
one thing that I've noticed about Texas is in some areas is in your face, in
Mhm.
some areas it's overt.
Oh,
And
yeah.
if you don't know any better, you'll miss it.
Gotcha,
Yeah, for
gotcha.
sure.
Like I was doing a real estate deal on a $1.3 million house.
Mm.
I know what you got to say.
And bro, I've never like on average,
Mhm.
if an appraiser, gives you a lower an appraisal, it's maybe 5, 10, maybe 15 grand.
Gotcha.
The contract was written for 1.3. And when the appraisal came back, it was $200,000 under the contracted price.
Mhm.
Not under the value, under the contracted price. We were contracted for 1.3. So that means in order to make this deal work, now that we have this appraisal, either my client is going to have to come to the closing table with $200,000, or their client is going to have to reduce their price of their house by $200,000. Do you think either side wanted to do that?
Definitely.
That deal died that
Right
day.
then.
And
Instantly.
and all of the
And
supporting comps, all of the supporting information to validate the value of the house was
Yeah.
given to the appraiser,
Mhm.
and he still would not adjust it. But what it boils down to, that after the contract was dead between our client
Mhm.
and that homeowner, another family came in and put a contract on it, another Caucasian family, and it appraised for more
Mm.
than what the
my
original.
client was a veteran, African American veteran, good job, could more than afford the house. good mortgage lender, the whole nine, credit score, everything was set in place. That's the only thing that stopped that deal from going through. And when you look at the grand scheme of things, for me, that was the only thing that you can attest that to. Like, how?
Yeah.
200 grand?
Yeah.
And some people will say that are in the real estate mortgage industry is like, well, what they're talking about is kind of impossible. How would the appraiser know the the race of this individual? Well, because it was a VA loan that is disclosed on the appraisal request, so they knew that he was an African American.
That's wild. That's wild. So before we close out, what are some terms? What are some terminology that we should look out for? Um, like y'all are insiders. Like, what are some terminologies that we should all look for?
As far as,
As far as well, I guess for you, Jasmine, credit, and then for you, real estate. Like when searching for a home, and then for you, for building your credit. Or
Terminology to look out for.
Mhm.
Um, that's such a broad.
yeah, I'm gonna say that's a very broad, area to pick out terminology. But I will say this. When it comes to contracts,
Okay.
you definitely want to make sure that you have somebody that is knowledgeable about reading
Mhm.
contracts and can explain it to you if you don't understand it.
Mhm.
Now, as real estate agents, we cannot advise you because that's practicing law. And we're not lawyers. However, we can tell you what these documents mean. Most of the documents that are in Texas are promulgated contracts, meaning they were written by an attorney. If you change any of the verbiage inside of what they've already written, then now you're practicing law. Most of the things that we do as agents is we can plug in certain phrases, but overall we can't change the dynamic of a contract. So that would be one thing I would say. Like if you're purchasing a property, make sure that your agent knows, has good contract understanding and terminology.
Okay.
For me, I think I'm gonna leave you guys with this one. Yes, you have like the credit karmas that you can subscribe to. They don't give you your true credit.
No.
So don't take those for, oh, this is going to give me what my true report is, what's truly on my report, my true rating. When I've had clients to say, hey, I'm a member of Credit Karma, my score on Credit Karma is a 715 credit wise, those types of systems, they're only telling you a portion of the credit that is actually utilized by us as lenders. So it is important that you reach out to those specific credit bureaus. TransUnion, Equifax, Experian. Do the freecreditreport.com. That takes you directly to those websites. You get to pull one report a year. If you had an identity theft, you can pull another one within that year to pull your credit to see what's on there. And then get ready to dispute, but understand what you're disputing. We can come back and talk about that because it's one thing to just go in there and say, none of this stuff belongs to me. And everything comes back
I was like,
belonging to you.
what the house?
Right.
No, I ain't never
Yeah,
did that.
right. I
I
ain't never
ain't
done.
never.
But there is an art to disputing
Yeah.
credit and
Yeah.
to getting your credit score to where you need it to be. So don't just go out there and say, don't none of this stuff belong to me. Everything
Yeah.
come back is,
It's like I would never buy a Ford Fiesta.
Right.
Never.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But just be mindful of those. Also be mindful of your fly by night credit counseling companies.
Okay.
Ask them for, give me some references. Let me see
babe,
something.
tell them the one that gets most of us.
Which one?
Lexington.
Oh Lord.
Everybody has used Lexington
Welcome
Law.
to Shit IDK. Shit IDK.
Lexington Law. Boy,
Ooh, Lord.
somebody right now
That's a
saying,
whole
yeah,
nother
yeah,
issue.
hell yeah.
Lexington Law is, yes, by all means, they are a law firm. So we are not,
I mean, I ain't bashing them.
we're not
Get shit
bashing
done.
anyone. However, we are just standing
Firm.
firm. That's a good way to put it. Be very mindful of the contract that you sign with them to do your credit repair. And anything that's asking for a monthly subscription, make sure that they are actually working on your credit.
That part.
Because that monthly subscription, you are paying a bill on their behalf. That does not necessarily mean that they are repairing your credit. Because remember, you're paying a monthly subscription, and how they make their money is off of that subscription fee right there. So yeah.
Oh, bro, I've had we've had at least 3 clients in the last 4 or 5 years. Man, I've been with Lexington Law for like 6 months, and I mean, I think I'm gonna be ready. You think you're gonna be ready?
And then when we pull their credit, they're all in the
They're not
400s,
ready.
or everything is still under investigation. Because they started the process, but they haven't followed up, or something that is missing. And the last one I was leaving with, you brought up Lexington, NACA.
NACA.
NACA is a program that a lot of minorities know about because they help, supposedly help a lot of people that are lower income to obtain housing.
Okay, it's kind of like the Bank of America thing.
NACA's a little bit different. We can talk about them a little bit more in depth on another time.
Okay.
But just be very mindful of them. A lot of our clients that we have worked with in the past that have gone to NACA have been members of their credit counseling or their first time home buyers program, and they never obtained that goal. Matter of fact, one of them. So when they came to us, we're like, well, I'm not understanding why you still in this program.
Yeah.
What's going on. It does not take very long to execute a plan. So whomever you're working with in terms of a lender, credit, they should be able to produce you a plan, a 30, 60, 90-day plan for you to work through, and so on. And if they can't, you need to go to another company. And remember, you don't want to stick with someone that's going to ask for a subscription because you are doing monthly payments to them, and you will never get to that end goal. So your goal is to purchase a
I mean,
home
think
or to
about
get
it.
the
If
car.
I was
you as a
there,
client.
you go. If I was paying you monthly, how fast would you work on my stuff? I mean,
Hey,
if
this
I
is gonna
fix
go
your
on
stuff,
at least for 3 years.
there you go.
At least.
Yes. So, I mean, yes, we do credit repair. Yes, that's one of our channels of business, but that our goal is to get you to your goal of purchasing a home or purchasing a car. I don't want you as a credit customer.
On to the next.
You're right.
We
Let's
got
move
more
on.
people to
We,
help.
we have goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, definitely, man. Set some goals.
Yeah.
Thanks. Hey, man. With that was so much information.
So much
We appreciate that like so much, man. We definitely gonna have to have y'all come back and come back and come back.
I want to do politics next.
Oh, definitely.
I got tons of
Lord,
stuff.
I'm a bow out gracefully.
Yeah, she don't do the
Hey,
politics, but I'll be
Ricky,
on
you
it.
missed a good one. Okay, so Ricky come back.
Yes, Ricky.
Yeah.
We send me your questions, Ricky, because I know you got some
I'm telling you, he
calls.
was at home. We called him. He was like, "Hey man, ask him this right here. Ask him this right here." But I know
Just
he.
and tell Ricky to give me a call.
I
I
will.
got him.
I will.
Give him a call directly.
I will. And again, thank y'all so
Thank
much
you
for
so
coming
much.
through.
Absolutely.
My
All the
pleasure.
knowledge.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Hey, for those listeners out there, this has been Shit IDK.